So did anyone notice that this past winter was pretty mild? Like we did not get a lot of snow. Or so I'm told, because I'm from Texas. But the last summer, the entire month of July, the peak temperature of the day did not get below 100 degrees. It was really, really hot. And because it was so hot, there wasn't a lot of water for agricultural or crop purposes, which is why my team is working on making one plant make more food. Because if we can put our resources and our energy into a smaller amount of plants and make more food, we can start to create more sustainable agricultural practices. So right now the project we're working on is called the Hybrid Vigor Project, because it was found by a researcher in Brazil that when you put two specific types of tomato plants together, the resulting child plant is way bigger and can produce about 3 times more tomato than either of its parents. And as it turns out, that change is due to a certain region of the plant's DNA. And so what we're working on now is finding what changes can we make to the DNA that will allow us to take that change and put it into other types of plants, like maybe peppers, potatoes, things like this. So that all sounds good, but we are kind of left with one problem, which is how do we take this research that we're working on in the lab and actually put it into the field? So that's kind of where the translational part of translational science comes in. Like, for example, right now the tomatoes we're working on are specifically lab tomatoes. They don't taste very good. The plants grow differently than they would in your garden or in the field. And so we're also working on taking what we know about these lab tomatoes and putting it into commercial varieties that farmers can actually grow. Um, so kind of the broader impact is being able to have these results go directly from what we're working on in the lab to commercial varieties that farmers use, is we can have a direct result that is very easy to see the impacts of in the grocery store. When you buy tomatoes, they're cheaper, they're easier to find, and eventually we want to also be able to share these seeds or share how to make these edits with farmers in other countries who may be experiencing widespread food shortages. So in theory, that gives more food to go around and kind of helps have access to fresh fruits and vegetables for everybody. Translational science has a ton of different applications, and we're always working on things from getting them from the lab into the real world. So if you have any questions about any of the projects we're working on, let me know. Thank you. So does anyone have any questions? Did I explain it like so well? No one knows? Or they're confused? What's up?
Are the tomatoes, were they all broken around at the same time?
Yes.
So that's the result then after a set amount of time?
Right, yeah. So they were all planted at the same time, like all the seeds were in the dirt at the same time. And then once they reach maturity and start producing fruit, and the fruit also matures and becomes red, like when you would eat it, that's when they were harvested. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So besides increases in productivity, are there any other aspects of hybrid vigor, increases in disease, insect resistance?
So there are not any increases. There's about the same amount of susceptibility to these types of problems. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do plants make more tomatoes and so like nutrient content matter because the tomato basically the same as the others, like the same tomato that is making?
So that's the problem with using lab tomatoes, is the nutrient content doesn't really change, but we don't know how it will change. Editing this specific part will change the taste or really anything else about like the actual properties of the tomato, because we're using just the lab tomatoes right now. That's kind of a later, when we're testing it in commercial varieties, we will make sure that those things are the same and that it tastes good so that it can actually be applicable to real world. Mm-hmm.